Okay, the price of housing is skyrocketing. Old news, we've already talked about that. And my buyers are, of course, looking for the secret sauce. Sometimes they've seen house after house after house and finally found the one that they're excited about writing on. Other times they've written bunches of offers and having trouble getting one accepted. And it becomes super tempting to write an offer that is way over asking price just to get it under contract. This weekend, I found myself in the middle of at the end of a transaction, ready to close this week, negotiation over an appraisal gap. And it's kind of a bummer place to be right at the end of the transaction when everybody's excited about, the end of it, right? The closing date coming up on the horizon, and we're back to the drawing board in a way. So what kind of made this one a little bit more interesting for me is that I have on the other side the selling agent, and I had a conversation about the asking price, and he felt really confident about it. And this is an agent that's worked in that market for a long time and whose opinion I respected. And so when I went back to my buyer, I said, I feel like you can, based on what I'm seeing, I said, I feel like we want to be a little bit cautious about going way over, but we can go a little over. And then I said, I'd rather see you write a robust offer and keep your appraisal protections in the offer, because I was questioning it a little bit. And I would have been very happy to have been proven wrong. So I certainly wasn't cheering for this as an outcome. But there was something about it that gave me pause. So here we are at the end of the transaction. We got to work that out, and I will just fast forward to we have a new price, and everything's going to be just fine. We're going to close. But let's talk about you. Okay, because you are in this market as a buyer, as a shopper, and you're thinking about, how do I prevent myself from getting into that situation? And if we are, what do I need to know to make sure that it all works out? Okay, so what are appraisal gaps? Let's start there. Appraisal gaps are when the market value as determined by the appraiser comes in lower than what the offer price was on the property. So that gap in between, right, is what we're referring to. And if you have the protections in the offer, then it's an opportunity to renegotiate. If you don't have those protections in, then worst case scenario is your financing could fall through. And also you might have to come up with some cash to get it to close. And so that's, a bummer place to be as well. So buyers will do that because it makes it a stronger offer, right? It's more certainty for the seller. But on the other hand, there's some strategies, I think, in writing a robust offer that has other benefits that the seller can recognize, that can help prevent a buyer from having to totally lean into this strategy. Okay, so that would be my best advice for how do you prevent yourself from coming into this situation. When do we see appraisal gaps? We see them frequently when the prices of homes are going up. And that's been true for the past few years. In this past year, we've seen an increase of, on average, 20%. So this is just indicative of the market we are in. It's not really anyone's fault beyond that. It just is what it is. And certainly there's a lot of conversations right now about, is it the supply chain? Is it inflation that is exacerbating the situation? My personal belief is that those two things are adding fuel to the fire, and that there's just a housing shortage right now. And so all the things that we can be doing to overcome that housing shortage will help us in the end to get through this tricky market, and certainly getting inflation under control and the supply chain back to something more normalized will make the market a bit more livable while the housing shortage works itself out. And what do I tell my buyers when we're writing an offer about how to protect themselves in an appraisal? It is exactly what I said, write a robust offer that maintains as many protections in it as you feel comfortable, right? In offering. Okay? So nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know where this housing market is going. If someone tells you they do, they're not being completely honest. There's lots of scenarios about what could happen. Prices might come down. I think it's going to be a while before that happens. That's just my guess, based on everything that I'm reading and researching. I also think that there's pressure being put on the appraisers to catch up with the market. They don't always feel obligated to do that, and for good reason. So sometimes you'll get lucky and they will recognize the need to go up in what they thought it was going to be, but a lot of times they'll bring it down, and they'll give what they believe to be an honest appraisal, and it'll just take some time before what the realtors are seeing for the market to catch up. Okay, so that said, I would love to get you out shopping. I'd love to get you into the house of your dreams, and I'd love to help you write that winning offer. And like I'm going to do with my buyer that I helped this weekend, get you to the closing table. All right, so let's make that happen and have a great week.